So it was Magic Week. Not really that magic, it feels to me. A lot of the conversation around it this year has been quite negative. Obviously, the announcement of it being at Ellen Road was a little bit of a disappointment to fans. Obviously, it's been quite a big showcase event over here, and the NRL has took it and ran with it, and it's been really successful over in Australia. Ellen Road, previously it was at Newcastle, it's been at, was it at Anfield? Etihad.
Cardiff, Edinburgh.
What were your guys' thoughts on this Magic round? Because I'll be honest, I was disappointed in it.
Well, if we're taking it from the beginning, like the announcement that it was going to be at Ellen Road, apparently they wanted Newcastle again, but it wasn't available. It feels like it was just decided last minute, and it was the opening weekend of Premier League, wasn't it? Which is just bonkers to host it. You could do it 2 weeks ago when everyone was ready for football to come back and everyone was desperate for watching some sport. Euros is off, Olympics is off, tennis is off. Whatever you're thinking of in the summer.
You could have basically prepped it that every other sport wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And we could have had our big showcase event.
Big showcase event. You can have it at any stadium you want, but that's getting ready. Probably would have been grateful for some games on it, just for the ground staff to get it ready for the Premier League or whatever. And instead we're doing it at Ellen Road, which, it's a historic old stadium and we've been there before and enjoyed ourselves, but it's historic for a reason. It's old-fashioned. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, really.
It didn't have that magic feeling, did it?
Suit Magic. Magic should be a big enough stadium with good surroundings for the fans.
Yeah, I think we was let down as well, weren't we, by some... And I know the organisers can't do this and everything to do that, but it did probably help to it. There was a bit of a... Going into it, like you're saying, the fact it was Ellen Road, the fact it was a bit last minute, I don't think there was much hype and anticipation around it, and then we got not treated, that's the wrong word. We got a lot of, I would say, low quality games, some blowouts, some that you thought might have been close and a good game, actually a team didn't turn up, which...
Well, if we're honest, there was 5 games that were pretty one-sided.
Yeah.
And then obviously Huddersfield Cass, which was quite one-sided but ended up being a bit close. 2 teams getting nilled at Magic.
And in theory, this is the way to do it. You've got loop fixtures. For example, as Wigan finished first, we have loop fixtures against all the teams that finished in odd positions last year. So that's how we make up our extra, however many games. What is it, 5?
But it made sense, wasn't it? Because this was 1v3.
Yeah. So
5 played 7. So they were all relatively close in ability.
The loop fixture that's against your closest team from last year is Magic Weekend. So first against third, second against fourth, and so on, all the way down to 10th against 12th. So in theory, it should have given 6 pretty even matches. Maybe we're just seeing that the guard has kind of changed since last year.
Well, I think that's a part of the problem that, for example, Warrington, they finished last season poorly.
Different teams are good.
Finished 5th last year.
6th,
even. At 6th and played Leeds, who finished 8th. Leeds are still around that mark, but Warrington are currently 2nd or 3rd, joint top on points difference, and they've been in that fight at the top. And Leeds haven't got any better. But I don't know how you solve that without...
The interesting thing with Magic Weekend is Hull KR and Lee. Hull KR finished 4th last year and played Catalan, who finished 2nd. So 4th place 2nd. Lee finished 1 place lower. In fact, it was on the last day, wasn't it, when they swapped, and played 7th. So there's a big difference there, isn't there, between... There's only 1 place in the table, but you're playing 2nd or you're playing 7th.
Unluckily, that team who was 7th, Salford, have improved slightly and got into the 6th. They were in the 6th for a lot of last season, so they've not really changed.
But that's not really the point, is it?
But it could have been so much worse. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at. It could have been so much worse.
I think you'll get more hype around it. I know I was having a conversation about this earlier, Jukesy, after recording. I think you get triangle derbies where you can.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know, but I do. I think if you said you keep Wigan and Saints, you keep Hull versus, and then without Huddersfield and Cass closing us out. We was watching this, weren't we, on telly, and I was sat next to you, Matty, and you went they couldn't have ended this. There'll be two teams, not going to make a top six, not really anything to play for.
Not near the bottom.
It's the most insignificant game. That's meant to be the main event, closing the weekend out. And I feel like, actually, if you have like Wigan and Saints as the main event this Saturday, the whole derby is the main event on Sunday. You've got big games there bringing people in.
There's three.
I know there's other teams that don't have a derby,
but there's three games that pretty much write themselves. Wigan Saints, the whole derby, Lee Salford has turned
into a good rivalry.
Lee Salford has turned into a good rivalry.
So you're there, and then you're sort of trying to manage the rest.
I mean, if you put Toulouse and Wakefield in, that solves two straight away.
It solves Catalan and Toulouse and Eyecatchers, and that leaves you with 4 clubs. Well, Leeds, you just pick against the best team that's left, if we're being honest, because they're up there.
Well, it would be Warrington Huddersfield, wouldn't it, in terms of geography, and then it would have to be Leeds against London, which wouldn't be a derby.
But you could always have Leeds Warrington.
Yeah. 2
teams near the mid-top table. Huddersfield have been a bit poorer in the last few years near London.
I don't know, if you weren't doing the loop fixtures thing and it didn't have to be an odd number team, why don't you just do first against second, third against fourth? At least then it doesn't have to leave
I suggested this, and this was a bit of a thought that I had. If Magic was at the midpoint of the season, so you've got 14 teams after 13 games, the week before, first place, second, third place, fourth.
You can't decide it the week before.
Why?
You can't do that.
Why?
It just feels wrong, doesn't it? It feels so wrong to add an extra league match and you don't know who you're playing until the week before.
And everyone knows that's the case and whatever. And I know you'll get people saying, you can throw a game here so you get an easier game at Magic. Well, you just lose 2 competition points.
Bold strategy. Put it early in the season.
Yeah.
And go off last year's rankings. It used to be first game, didn't it?
Open the season with it.
It used to open the season. Yeah. I remember Wigan and Saints drawing to open the season at Magic once.
Be really good. Right, shall we get into it? We'll be back. Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His mind.
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code THEWIGANWAY, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
So the first game that we're going to talk about from the Magic weekend is obviously Wigan's, a 20 points to 0 victory over the St Helens. Massive win.
Yeah.
And I think it
Feels good, this one.
makes it so much better, that 0. You know, like, you could win it they would have won 40 points to 6. Yeah, you'd beat them convinced. But to 0 a team, it's just such a good feeling, I think. What are your thoughts on the games, lad? Before we dive into the details of it, what are your overall thoughts?
I think obviously it's a good win. It's obviously a good win when you beat your rivals, but I think both teams doing it tough with the squads put out and the injuries and some key personnel missing and some positional changes on both sides. So I think both squads were doing it tough. Ideally, do we want to see these 2 teams with the best 17s out? Of course we do. But I thought, no, very hard fought victory. And obviously, we'll run through the highlights, but there was a fair few this game, both in attack and defence, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it was a magic performance, but it was certainly a professional performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was well deserving of a 20-point win. I think it was.
It felt like the right result.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by comfortable win, I would say, and it's not usual that you can beat your rival comfortably. I know, even in the past when they've been down in the doldrums, we've not managed to beat them convincingly, and vice versa as well. The only time I remember them ever beating us that convincingly was when we gave debuts to 18 people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were up to numbers 40 odd when it was the COVID years, and so it's always usually a close game, and this one wasn't even as close as 20-0 suggests.
No, not at all. Obviously, a lot of the talk before the game was about the players that were missing.
Yeah.
If you look at the spines alone, the 1, 6, 7 and 9, out of the 8 potential starting players, there was only field available, so we were missing 7 of the spine.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before, and I am going to mention it, that it is a squad game. And there's always talk like who you bring in and who's your number 24, 25, 26. I think this is where Wigan are very, very well balanced. Having Tyler Dupree as your number 19 outside of the 17. Sam Walters, number 22. Ryan Hampshire's 23, I want to say.
Yep.
December, number 21. Well, I don't think Saints have got necessarily that balance, and they've gone into numbers of 30 and 31 while leaving the squad number 22, Sam Royal. He wasn't picked. Benison, number 5, wasn't picked. So they're, along with the injuries, and the injuries are difficult, I don't think it's as big as everyone is saying. You've got to remember that they were choosing not to play starting players or people in that top 25 that counts on your cap.
Yeah.
They could have gone stronger, or they've picked a couple of them young lads for a reason. Robertson has kept Benison out of the fullback slot, for example. It is what I'm trying to get at. And obviously Wigan did the same. We didn't play Mago originally in the 17. We didn't play Hill at all. Obviously Mago was 18th man. What were your thoughts when Mago had to come into the starting lineup and Farrell was out injured?
I was shocked. You don't often see it, do you?
No, not that late.
That late, that close to the match, you don't often see players injured. I was worried as well because obviously he's our captain, Liam Farrell, and I was a little bit concerned. But Sam Walters is a good player to be coming in, and Mago's been a good player for us to come onto the bench. So I wasn't too disheartened, but it was a big shock.
It was a calf strain, wasn't it? Or something. He tweaked his calf.
Yeah, a bit of a tweak.
Is there no?
I've not heard
Has
anything
been
about
announced
it.
about him being out for a couple of weeks, or do we just think he could be back?
I've not heard it.
So we don't know.
The only thing I've heard was that obviously he was walking around after the game and wasn't limping. He wasn't
Right. Okay. So it could
whatever.
just be.
It was just a tweak.
Right. Okay.
So before that change, was you surprised to see Mago outside of the 17?
He's played every game so far, hasn't he? He's the only one who's played every game so far, and he always comes off the bench to be an impact player. And you don't really need a rest if you're that kind of player. And maybe he didn't need a rest, but I'm not sure St Helens is the perfect opposition for Mago to go against. They've usually dealt with him quite well in the past. He's usually been better against other sides.
I think obviously having to get Forber in. Forber's now back. And having to get him into the side because of the missing of O'Neill. The question marks around Walters, and he's still getting to fitness and still settling in. With them two taking the places up, it leaves you with 2 bench spots. And is Mago a suitable player for a 2 bench forward attack, if that makes sense? If you're going 2 props
If
on
you've
the
only got
bench,
2 props on the bench, is one of them being Mago, is that going to limit your 3 other props?
yeah. And does that mean the likes of Havard, Thompson and Ellis are forced into doing 60, 70 minutes rather than it being through choice? And if you pick up an injury to one of them, who's going to step up and do the minutes? So I wasn't surprised. I always see Mago as if we can carry 3 props, Mago's in them 3. If we're only taking 2, I'm a bit 50-50.
Yeah, you're right there. I would actually agree with that. I would go along with that. I think it would have been very easy for him, though, to pick Mago instead of Walters, in the original lineup.
Yeah.
Because Walters hasn't been playing great. And Pete actually said he was torn about whether or not to leave Walters out because he's not been amazing in his few games that he's had recently. But he was rewarded with probably his best game in a Wigan shirt, Sam Walters.
Do you know what I think is a big thing for that? Starting.
Yeah.
I don't think it's this. I think people sometimes, because it's a forward.
He was great at Cass as well, wasn't he?
It was.
When he
I
started.
think when you're on the bench and you're doing it at prop, sometimes because the second row is classed as a forward as well, people say you can come off the bench and, it's just like being a sub-prop. It's not. When you're coming in at 55, 60 minutes at second row, where you kind of... You
have to be
you're on the
speed.
edge of the edge, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? You're not on the edge centre wing, but you're not necessarily in the middle like a 9 prop or 13. You're kind of in between those two positions. It's not the same. It's quite difficult, actually, to come on at the second row. It's not the same.
And you have to come on and be at speed straight away.
Yeah.
So that you're running the right lines. And everyone else has already got the momentum of the game, and you've sort of got to be on that as it starts. Yeah, I get that.
I think it's much his starting position at second row than coming off on a bench. It's
Do you
hard to
think,
go to second row.
Do you think if it were the original bench composition of Byrne, Dupree, Walters and Forward, do you think we might have seen Walters go through the middle earlier? Bring him on earlier through the middle,
Play him as a prop,
and then maybe you bring a prop back on after and move him out wide. I don't know, maybe for example you take off Thompson after half an hour and put Walters on in the middle,
potentially,
and then a bit later on you put Thompson back on, but you bring off Nsemba. Something like that, I think we might see.
Yeah,
because
possibly.
Walters can obviously do both. He did both for Leeds.
I do want to try and get Walters. I know it's obviously he's got to run his place, but I do want to see Walters go because he terrorised Saints for Leeds.
Yeah, he did.
Against Leeds, he was the Saints hated him,
And he played both positions in that game. I know the
Yeah,
one
he
you're
did.
thinking of when he had that light blue shirt on,
Yeah.
and he scored them 2 tries. He started in the prop and then he moved out wide.
but it's been difficult because his performances so far haven't warranted a place over Nsemba or Farrell.
Oh,
And you know what you're going to get with Liam Farrell. You're going to get an 80-minute performance of being an 8 out of 10.
And Nsemba's been one of the better players this year. As
Yeah.
well,
So
It's
to actually
tough on
getting
him.
game time,
Isa started so well. And if
it would have been really interesting if Isa had stayed fit.
if you look back at the team that won the World Club Challenge and those that started so well, Isa's defence was... We had Isa, we had French on that right-hand side defending so well.
Well, with that, obviously, there was a lot of talk last week about that right-hand side and the conceding tries on the right-hand side.
Well, Kieran had moved.
And Isa would have been the solution.
Isa would have been there. French would have been there. He's an excellent defender. Kieran and Miski. Now, all of a sudden, Kieran's moved position. French is out. Isa's out. So it's all changed.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's different to the side that started.
I can relate. Yeah. I sympathise with that right-hand side.
Well, yeah, we have to do it, don't we?
Yeah. Right. Let's go into some of these tries. It was 14-0 at half-time. 2 tries in the first half and a penalty almost on the hooter. And then 1 just after half-time. The first one, Liam Marshall's. I want to say Kieran at 6. First of all, what a pass.
Yeah, delicious ball.
Yeah. Well, Kieran was on... do you read into much about 6 being on the right and 7 being on the left?
I don't. Not so much over here.
I think we just had 2 half-backs, because Kieran was playing on the left, which in our usual system would be Smith. So I don't know whether Kieran was stand-off or scrum half.
I don't think it's so
it
much
matters
of a thing.
anymore, does it?
No.
Just we had 2 half-backs, one played the left side of the field, one played the right side of the field. But I was a bit surprised to see
Kieran on the left.
Kieran on the left, given that he usually plays right centre, and Faramund in the past has played left. But you know what? Somebody makes that decision instead of me.
Yeah.
And Kieran did really well.
There would have been nothing. I wonder whether that's more for Faramund himself. That when he's playing with Smith, who's been the mainstay in that team, Smith plays the left-hand side. So Faramund's come in and played on the right. He's the young lad and given what he's used to. But again, this was really good play. Tackled just on the right-hand side post. Well played out to Ellis. Ball playing 13. Thought he had a really good game.
Yeah.
Ellis, great hands to get it to Kieran, and Kieran with a brilliant cut-out ball. It's just the play before, and there's so many bodies in motion. Jake Wardle's going inwards at the sticks. December on the overlap. It just creates so many issues and so many different problems.
Well, there's no way to defend against this that doesn't leave a man open.
Yeah, and you just have to hope you get the right man.
And if you pick the right pass, it's a try.
I actually think, with that, in that predicament, then Saints have probably done the right thing.
Oh, they've definitely done
to
that.
challenge Kieran and go on then, lob a 20 metre pass.
They've
And
done
if
the
he
right
does, fair play to him. But the only thing I can do is make it as difficult as I possibly can for him by
Make
making
it
him
make
have
them
to throw
do
the
a
long
difficult
ball.
pass, yeah.
And I've got to say this, because you're right. That's the hardest pass. The hardest try there is Marshall. He's got to take the longest pass. There's more things that could
Over
go
the top
wrong.
of people,
Over the top.
yeah,
There's so
yeah.
much that could go wrong. What's the killer is not making him score in the corner.
Paul Wellens actually picked up on this after the game.
I'm
I
surprised.
saw something on social media today. I think it was coming down and he said about Saints lacking rugby smarts in this game. And he said, and he actually used that as an example. He says, you look at Marshall's try, make him score it in the corner. If he misses the kick, it's 4, and then that means it's 12-0 at half time, not 14. You're only 2 scores behind, not 3. You only need to score potentially twice, not 3 times. So yeah, you're right to pick up on that, Tom.
What's it? Kieran still might have kicked it.
Yeah, well, we don't know, do we?
We don't know.
No, it's obvious.
But it's so much harder out there.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
you got to make him make it as hard as possibly can for him.
Yeah.
if you're letting Marshall score with a wide pass and then you're saying, actually, it's an easy kick, that's just something gone wrong, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've done everything right in conceding, which is a weird thing to say, I know, but they've conceded in the best possible way. A high-risk pass.
We just got to keep him wide.
Yeah, they can only credit Wigan there and say we made it hard, and you've scored a nice try for a very good individual piece of skill, a nice ball over the top. But yeah, letting him run and make it an easy kick, Rollins was not happy about it.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, understandable.
Now, a couple of minutes later, Jack Farrimond scores. Now, really interesting with this is obviously Field getting tackled at the play of the ball. So he's trapped at the play of the ball. He's not in this attacking play. And normally, Field is the sign of which way we're going to go, left or right. But it sort of just leaves Kieran and Farrimond split either side, left hand, right hand side.
Yep.
Lehman dummies to go out to Kieran, finds Jack Farrimond, and I want to say what a piece of play this is.
Yeah.
Is it wide, Farrimond, from this play of the ball? Is he?
He's a good...
It felt like he was a bit wider than usual,
Yeah,
which we've seen him do before.
but that to highlight, so he's 10 in when he gets this ball. And outside him, you've got Walters, Eckersley and Miskey all making a bit of a darting run. Robertson, the fullback for Saints, is the man attacking Farrimond, the man trying to defend Farrimond, sorry. His 3 outer players are almost dealt with. And I don't want to say the words, but eyes up footy for
Hand in the
Farrimond.
jar, please.
Yeah. But he sees Robertson trapped at the in the defensive line. Very similar to, was it Smith's chip and chase at home against Catalan, I want to say?
Yes, Artemog was in the line because they had 12 men then, I think.
And as soon as they see that, French has done it a couple of times, that you see that fullback up in the line.
We spoke about it then, didn't we? About Tompkins had analysed it and said the fullback goes into the line to give the impression that there's more defenders than there actually are.
Yeah.
At a snapshot, you know, when you receive the ball, you only get
A split second.
less than that even to analyse the line, and you think, goodness, there's loads of defenders over here. When actually there's someone out of position somewhere else. They've just given the impression that the line's full.
But to just take that split second to
notice
recognise
it,
to recognise actually this is Harry Robertson.
But Harry Smith noticing that, or Sam Tompkins, or Bevan French noticing that. You think, well, they're clever. They're clever players. They've been around a while, had plenty of coaching.
Yeah.
Farrimond, you're thinking 18, 19-year-old, played a handful of games, half a dozen.
Yeah.
For him
I
to
called on
spot that.
Farrimond before he got kind of taken out for Hampshire a couple of weeks ago. And there was a game where I said I wanted to see him take the line on a bit, back himself a little bit more. Saw it in obviously the game where he scored his tries and all the points he got. Was it against London at home?
Yeah.
Where he was backing himself, he was attacking the line, putting some nice footwork on. And this is another example here, just backing himself, thinking I've just got a bit of skill, I'm going to try my luck here, put a little grubber through the line, chase it and see what happens for me. And good, fair play to him, back yourself.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to mention with this is it's such a well-weighted kick. Because even if he doesn't get the ball's not going dead, he's not giving a 7-tackle set away. The worst result in that case is a Saints man dives on the ball and gets tackled a metre from his line.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk about risk-reward and whatever you want to call it. but the reward's very high and there's very little risk to it. Brilliant play.
Yeah,
It's obviously
Give it some credit.
they have just put out the team of the week, the Super League team of the week. I don't know who decides that, but Farriman's in it.
I don't know who decides that either.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's a part of the reason why. Kieran kicks a penalty goal with about 90 seconds left?
Last minute, I think.
And it was an easy kick, so it's just a no-brainer at that point, isn't it? Go to 3 scores.
Yeah.
Absolute no-brainer. Takes it 14-0 at half-time. And then we're going to talk about the second half now. 15 minutes. Cade Ellis, yellow card.
Yeah,
I think he's really unlucky.
so do I.
Because if you've not seen it, go and have a look at it. December is in the tackle, he hits Batchelor, sort of lowers the height of Batchelor, but more knocks him into Ellis's shoulder. And I do get it's head-on shoulder contact, I get it. But it's so difficult with what to do there. How do you... What is Cade Ellis meant to do?
I don't know what he can do.
I'm still very unsure on what differentiates between a red card high tackle, a yellow card, and just a penalty.
Mitigation. This
How
word.
much? But they said, right, Ellis has some mitigation because there was a loss of height and it was low level force, but it's still a yellow. So is every head contact a yellow now, or can you just be penalised for it but not be sent for 10 minutes?
There are yellow cards that are just yellow cards, and they don't get given as red cards. There's penalties that are just penalties. And I don't get the difference either.
That's what I'm saying, do you know what I mean? I don't get what levels is there.
Sometimes they say it's not a red card.
No mitigation is red card, isn't it? As far as I'm aware this season. If there is no, if you just hit him in the head and there's no reason for it, it's a lazy bad tackle, it's a red card.
And I can live with that.
But
And
even
some
sometimes,
mitigation, low level force, rapid loss of height.
one of them two is a yellow card. But here there was low level force and rapid loss of height. So
But he's still got a yellow. So do you know what I mean? But what constitutes it just being a penalty? In what situation would it just be a penalty and no card is necessary? Do you get what I mean? I think this is where people are getting frustrated because they don't know the difference.
I think it's because it's his shoulder.
it
If it hits him on the arm, I think he just gives a penalty.
Maybe.
But because it's to shoulder.
But when they're saying the inside of your elbow, it's not as bad as your shoulder. When actually they're probably both the same.
Yeah.
So there's been so many high tackles this weekend. If you went through and looked at every high tackle and tried to guess what the outcome was each time, I bet you'd get most of them wrong. And then you'd have to say, well, did the player stay down and pretend to be injured?
Well,
because they did this time.
You brought us onto a point. Obviously, Matty, you weren't on last week.
No.
Last week, Batchelor got a sin binning.
We talked about this, didn't we?
We talked about
when we
it.
reviewed the Saints game.
And we actually give a little bit of praise to Batchelor for trying to call it out. Now, he does hit him in the head, and it is a yellow card. But he's telling him to not stay down. After coming running in.
He's furious. He gets sent for a yellow card and he can't, but he's shaking his head, he's shouting, oh my word, no way. He can't believe he's going for 10 minutes last week, actually.
But then has done the same thing. Stayed down, held his head, and then not had to go for a HIA. And I really... We were discussing it before. We always chat after games and whatever. You can't ask other teams to be better, not stay down, get up, and then not do the same yourself.
If he's going to call it out from somebody else,
Yeah.
you can't do it, can he?
No. His mentality is probably, you know what, if I got done for it last week, then I'm not jumping back up, I'll stay down on my head like someone did to me last week, so someone else can go for 10.
It's a weird suspension as well.
But it is. And
Getting a game for that is weird.
We talked about this, didn't we, last week, and we mentioned a couple of things, didn't we? A compulsory HIA. If you stay down and hold your head, then you have to go for an HIA. Maybe that might get it out the game.
I genuinely believe that's the only solution. If you turn the screen off first of all, so you can't look at replays.
We've been banging that drum for years.
I'm not having that conversation again. But if the ref doesn't see it, and you stay down, holding your head, you go for 10 minutes. Now, obviously, there's some high tackles where the ref just, it's high, gives it, blah, 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 and you don't stay down or whatever. But if you stay down and make the ref change his mind, it's a mandatory HIA or a mandatory green card. Something to force players to not stay down. And you can, again, we had this conversation, are you then making players try and get up when they're injured? Well, there's independent doctors that are reviewing every tackle.
I don't think we need to have that same conversation again, because what you two said last week was perfect, and we've just seen another weekend of the same problems.
Yeah. We
So
need to get out of the game, don't we?
Yeah, I don't think we need to have that conversation again. I think we just move on and talk about more rugby.
Yeah.
To be honest.
But then, obviously, we survived that 10 minutes. We don't concede, which is a big thing for Wigan.
Thanks to one man.
Yeah, thanks to one man.
Thanks to Jay Field.
We'll start off, I want to mention the young fullback, Robertson.
Someone told me I should make a Jay Field video with his try from Huddersfield and his try saver for a song got by somebody called JZ. Make this a Jay Field video from a JZ song.
Wow. I'm going to skip over that and just move on from that. But Robertson does really, really well here. I want to say full credit to him. He gets on the outside of his man, gets through 2-on-1. He deals with it pretty well. 2-on-1 with Field. Matt Whitley is backing him up inside for support. I think he draws Field quite well.
Not well enough.
No, you know why? Because what happens if he goes wide? Field pushes him in touch like he did with what's the May brother that he did it to? Taylor?
Tyrone. No, Tyrone's at Hull Care.
I
know what you mean.
Whichever May it was, Taylor May I think it was, that he did in the local challenge like he did to Liam Tyndall games ago.
Yeah. You can't go wide with him
Dodd.
because he'll time it right. But I want to criticise Matt Whitley here. When Field makes contact with him, he's only 3 or 4 metres short of the line. Why is he looking for a pass back to Robertson? Just hold on to the ball and dive over the line. I don't see any benefit.
In contrast, if he pops the ball up to Robertson and Robertson scores, then well done, you've scored a try. Whereas if you get held up, you've not scored a try. I don't mind him trying it.
I don't know. I always think, mate,
Just got a load of stick there for trying to score or trying to put somebody over when he probably wasn't going to score himself.
But he ended up over the line. Like, after he fell and the tackle would have been made.
It's on his back though. I think Field had him.
But I'm not even surprised at Field for this. The way that he dealt with it. Backing off to give himself enough time. And then
It was brilliant defended.
getting around. He almost did it against, was it Newman at Leeds? And he was unsuccessful then. But we're talking 7 or 8 try saving tackles where you think he shouldn't have a chance, really. He shouldn't have a chance at saving that.
And when they break like that, it should be an automatic try.
You
really,
expect him to execute there, don't you?
And it's almost become second nature. I am going to say this. I don't think there is a better fullback defensively for making tackles like that. Yeah, he might not be the strongest one-on-one or whatever you want to argue about him, but his reading of the game and he's setting up to stop tries like that.
He's a big part of our defence.
Yeah.
Was
His bravery. To get his body in front there.
I was going to say, the Conrad Hurrell tackle last year.
Yeah.
Was that at Ellen Road as well?
Yeah, the 2 years ago.
2 years ago, sorry, yeah. Where he nailed Conrad Hurrell. Like, he is prepared to do the gritty stuff. And
The narrative around him then was that he probably couldn't defend.
Yeah. And he's shown that he can.
Mm-hmm.
That was 4 minutes into the yellow card. Obviously, just brilliant. I love
another yellow card period without conceding.
I love. It's weird with that as well. I love Farriman backing up to dive on the ball. We have 5 or 6 players in the picture.
Yeah.
I think it's massive. Obviously, then Wigan go on to score again with Sam Walters. A little bit of a more off-the-cuff move. Play went outside to December, who does really, really well, and takes the tackle, but he's obviously...
Causing some disruption, doesn't he?
He's brought 4 or 5 men in. done really well. And very similar to his try at home against, I want to say, Lee.
Yep.
Didn't go down, wrestled, kept wrestling, and making maybe 2 or 3 extra metres, but bringing in 2 defenders. And it just allows for the next player to kick across field, to be under so little pressure. Miski catches it with no one around. There's no one within 2 or 3 metres of him. He's not contested. He's not... I don't know what the word I'm looking for there is. He shouldn't be able to take that ball so easy.
He can do what he wants.
And to have the time to look up and see Sam Walters running back on the inside and put a kick through, I think this is probably the most disappointing try to concede if you're a Saints fan. At 14 points to 0, you shouldn't be able to just put a kick inside as a winger, finding your second rower. And I'm really glad for Sam Walters to get this try. He fully deserved it. But I just think that I'd be really disappointed if we
Very off the
conceded that.
cuff, isn't it?
I asked myself, would I be disappointed if we conceded a try like that? And I think I would.
I probably would as well, yeah.
The other 2, you can say brilliance here and moments of magic and whatever, but to let December do what he does and make so many metres at the end, to allow such an easy kick across, not pressure Miski, let him find a kick inside, it felt too easy. And that I think that's the try that would have upset me. If I was a St Helens supporter, that's the one that I'd be looking at going, it's just not good enough.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think you're right.
Well, that wraps up the game.
Yep.
20 points to 0.
Can I have something before we finish this segment?
Yeah.
To you guys, because I've got a bit of an opinion on this. I want to see what you guys think. Was you surprised that we nailed them?
Yeah.
Yeah, but only because we had 12 men for a bit. While it was 13 on 13, I thought we were just comfortable.
Yeah.
Are you asking me before the game or while I watched
Well,
it?
the reason why I'm asking is because, right, if you look at like the 2 squads, both hit with injuries, but we've already talked about that. Like, there's people on, like, Field could get a try out of anywhere. Marshall's a prolific try scorer. Even Wardle's got, class A, he could make a break, and score. Even Eckersley terrorised him at fullback last time we played them. With these guys, without Clark, without Wellesby, without Lomax, I really didn't see where points were going to come from for them.
No.
There's no one down there. I was thinking, the back line, Makison's good at making metres. I don't think he's going to make a break like a Wardle could. And
Hurrell's not there to barge over.
Hurrell's not there to give a one-on-one blindside. Barge over his centre one-on-one. There was, even if, like you said, there was nothing there. I thought, actually, I was looking at the squad when it got announced. I just went, I don't know where points are going to... I'm not saying I was expecting maybe a 0, but I didn't think we were going to score many points. I thought if we can get our attack clicking, I said, these guys won't outscore us today. They've not got the firepower.
Just to say to that, my thought was, if we get 14, I can't see them winning.
No.
I couldn't
3
see them getting
scores.
3 tries.
I could see him going, like when they do sometimes where they go, like Makinson starts a set and then Walmsley, Parsi, Walmsley,
roll.
Lees, something like that, where they roll teams. Maybe you could do that, but without Clark. Obviously, he's a big part of that, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. But they're going to have to find a way to play. And obviously, they put Bell in there, but they've got Burns on the bench who's a 9.
Burns, yeah. Travis Burns, you said last week.
Travis Burns, flashback.
Travis Burns.
Flashback to the
They
past.
could have done with Travis Burns in this game.
We've had this conversation before about Saints. They just seem so... You go past that 17.
Backup halfback, I don't know who it is.
And there's
It's
no
Roberts.
depth, is there?
Not Robertson, who's the fullback, a young lad called Roberts.
But why wasn't he playing?
Well,
We had our backup halfback, he's a young lad, he was playing, he played to score the try.
Well, our backup halfback wasn't playing. Our backup, Hampshire didn't play.
Well, no, but we have 2, don't we? You need 2 backup, 2 backups.
And then you had your centre player there. So they had Ben Davis, who's a centre.
Yeah,
Go
but why?
outside that 17 and
Yeah.
there's not much, is there?
I like Whitley at 19. Delaney, obviously your number 20.
Yeah, decent enough players.
But going into 21, 22,
Delaney's
23.
only got 1 season behind him last season.
And I've always been worried about the squad depth, and I said it when they won the 4 in a row, that if they pick up injuries, they're in trouble. But the young halfbacks, Roberts, and
He's not given him a chance, has he?
well, there's a lot of talk about him being a real good player and one that's going to be a star halfback.
Give him a chance then.
a lot of the talk I saw after the game was,
Give him a go for 3 games, then bring him out. That's what I would do.
and to see, I get it might be tough to throw.
Can't do any worse.
I get it might be tough, but you've basically left Moses Mbai being your main spine player by himself.
No one can do it by themselves.
So, you know what, it might have been worth throwing him in.
Put him in next to Mbai. Mbai's a clever character, isn't he? He's got experience. You'll look after him. Put them in together. Well, that's what I would do next game if I was Wellens.
I think I
I've
would.
got nothing to lose, have you?
No,
Like
exactly.
you said there, you've nothing
But
to lose.
those talks,
Unless they've got anybody back. I don't know if they're getting anybody back this week.
I think it's Lomax back from his ban soon.
Or it might be Lomax might be back this time.
I was going to say, I certainly was back after Magic.
Yeah, might be finished his ban now.
Well, but yeah, I agree with you both. Give the young lad a chance. You're not going to get a chance to give him it a game now if you're throwing Lomax back in there. If Lomax
You
comes
could
back
pair
in,
you could pair him with Lomax. Mbai can play now. I would.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Lomax is just, all those qualities I just said about Mbai being a safe pair of hands to put him with. Same applies to Lomax.
Right. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention before we wrap up. Sorry, I'm really sorry.
Go on.
Obviously,
Go on.
Tom Forber came back. He's been injured for a while. He played in the reserves last week.
Yeah. They were always targeting Magic.
They were targeting Magic for him. What did we make of his performance, and more importantly, what did we make of him potentially being there for the rest of the season?
Well, he's the choice hooker, isn't he? He's a good player.
I think he held his own. He's going to get more and more minutes over the next coming weeks. Obviously, Lehman played the vast majority of this game.
That's how I think it'll have to be.
I think so. I've got no. We need. I think it works for Lehman having another 9 on the bench, and it works for Wigan's structure. Whether you want to do that as a 10, Lehman can do 60, maybe for us 10 minutes outside of half time, or
A decent player for him.
I think
he's a good option. But say he's our
don't think
third
it harms
choice.
us.
He's a good player.
We can still do the 2 props in the second row, or 3 props and Forber. So
There's no point having him in the squad if you're not going to call on him, when one of them's injured.
So
So
again,
yeah,
he's number 27. He's just outside that top 25 if you want to talk on the cap. So he's there to play. Same as Eckersley, same as Faramond.
Yeah.
They're all in that to play. Right, that wraps it up. We'll be back to talk about, I was going to say go around the grounds, but there's only one ground.
yeah, go round and round.
We'll see you after the break.
Okay, now into the section where we talk about what's caught our eye this week. Before we get on to the shot of the week and the player of the week, let's do our eye catchers. Tom, what's caught your eye in the world of rugby league this week?
Craig Lingard, man of the people.
Okay.
Let's take Magic to Benidorm. He's quoted. Let's go to Benidorm. You've got the sun, and a lot of people go on holiday there anyway. So I think it'd be a success. And you know what? I'm with him.
Imagine all the Super League squad staying in the Solano or whatever it's called.
Bucket hat, vest,
Match.
no shoes, suits him. He's one step away from going around on a mobility scooter.
Johnny Vaughan would
Oh,
do
yeah,
well,
well-
wouldn't he? Go and watch St Helens.
No, Johnny Vegas. Johnny Vaughan plays for St.
Sorry, not Johnny Vaughan, Johnny Vegas. Sorry, the Oracle on as his number as on Benidorm. Lancashire pub quiz champion. Do
Oh wow!
you think Craig Lingard's just suggested there, so he's got another reason to wear his bucket hat?
Bucket hat,
Yeah, no
vest,
sh- no
no
shoes.
shoes,
Yeah.
mobility scooter.
Mobility.
Guess what you could do? You could have mobility scooter races at half time.
It gets you a Super League point. We're trying to get as many games in for some reason. Let's give points away as well. If you draw, you both get a point.
The club who most adapts to Benidorm life gets the competition point.
Oh, I love that.
The NRL wants to see the fastest man in the NRL is, and we want ours on mobility scooters.
But while we're at it, some other suggestions been floated around, and I don't know about you. I'm not necessarily against some of these
Okay.
if it's on a rotation. So
So then,
like
who have people said?
Tom Briscoe, Barcelona, the new camp.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Sam Burgess wants to go to Dubai. Cruz Lehman says Dubai, yeah. But I wouldn't be mad if it was 4 years at somewhere solid and then they took a big one somewhere else. You know, like
Dubai,
forward
though.
planning. Tuilola here says Paris or somewhere like that. something different.
Yeah.
Tommy Makinson, Las Vegas. I think he's just disappointed that he's not in the Vegas game.
Yeah.
Daniel McIntosh of the Lee Leopards. Let's go to Japan.
Japan doesn't even have a rugby league team.
I think we can expect something different there and something unique.
Could definitely be different.
Alex Mellor wants to go to Florida. In America, he had to emphasise in America. 2 weeks there, play a game, then have 2 weeks in Disneyland. Hull KR's Elliot Minchella says maybe New York, that'd be good. It's obviously a good city, it'd be nice to see the sights afterwards.
People just want to go on holiday.
That is it. Luke Robinson's Barcelona would be pretty good. The fans would really appreciate it. Nice food, decent nightlife. I think the boys will like it.
Luke Robinson's thought about it too much.
George Williams, I'd take it somewhere like Dubai, somewhere a bit different. But Paul Wellens has come out with my favourite of somewhere like Dubai, maybe. That's all he said.
Oh, he's charismatic, isn't he, Paul Wellens? He knows how to talk to a crowd.
Yeah.
Somewhere like Dubai, maybe. What an absolute nugget of gold that is.
But yeah, with George Williams, I'd take it somewhere like Dubai, somewhere a bit different. I'm sure it'd be pretty hot.
Yeah.
Somewhere like that.
Dubai? I just want to be in Dubai.
It's just where people want to go on holiday.
Yeah. Right, Lewis, what was your eye catcher?
My eye catcher this week is something. It was a video shared by the Super League social media of how many try-saving tackles there were this weekend at Magic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I think I should have made a note of them all.
I love try
Obviously,
saves.
Field and Kieran in the Wigan game.
Yeah.
Hankinson did one, didn't he? For Salford, but Divine made a sick
Yeah,
tackle.
that was a good one.
He dropped the ball. There was one in the Leeds and Warrington game. I think did Ash Hanley get held up over the line?
Yeah, he did.
By
I think so,
Dewless, was it? I think off a
I
kick or something. There was. They showed the video. And I think there must have been about 10. Try saving moments, try saving tackles, holding up over the line. Some proper last ditch defence. You don't normally get that in one round, do you?
They're in as well because Hammer did a great one in the NRL.
Yes,
unbelievable try saving.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the NRL section, but yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of try saving tackles this week.
Tex Hoy had one for Castleford.
Yes, he did. Yes, there was one. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. Do you think try saving tackles feel better than just scoring a try?
It's as good. I think it's as good.
Yeah.
I think it's as good. I'm going to argue it's potentially better because it's just like it picks you up when you stop a team scoring. Like you feel like you work really hard and save it with a try saving tackle. Everyone just gets a bit
Gives you energy.
pumped up from it.
You get
Every
energy.
5 minutes. You
You
bring
get
the crowd
momentum.
into it as well.
The crowd get fired up. They're good. Yeah, they're undervalued, I think, try saving tackles.
Yeah.
Matty, go on. What's caught your eye?
Oldham have won League One, and that's a big deal.
Yeah,
Oldham getting back up there.
Wasn't Thingy favourites for that? Who was favourites?
Well, it was Oldham or Keighley.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, Oldham did spend some money. They got Jordan Turner as captain, who we would all know.
Yeah.
Logan Astley, Wigan Junior, who left this year to go to them. Has been playing fullback for them and playing quite well. So, yeah, I'm obviously pleased. Mike Ford, who was a Wigan player back in the day, is I think it's director of rugby. And it's a weird one, like they had Sean Long as coach and then didn't he?
He left pretty soon, didn't he?
Leave pretty early, and they were going to have this big push to go up now. They've gone up. Can they keep it up? Because there's been a lot of positivity about them. Lots of fans going to their games.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's good. It feels like whenever we hear about League One, or even the bottom end of the Championship, it's always bad news.
Yeah.
It's always such a club's going to go bust, such a club's not paid the wages, such a club, everyone's leaving.
No, I don't disagree.
But Oldham, we've got some good news coming out of League One. Oldham, positive, finally. And it just feels good.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good to hear.
Lewis, do you want to talk us through Shot of the Week? Because it's Roderick Ty, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Roderick Ty. Well, so actually, we didn't have a shot of the week last week, did we? We just went for a play of the week instead. But yeah, it was it led to a try, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was a massive. So it was who was it on?
Lockie Miller.
Was he bringing the ball back from a kick? Or
No,
was
I think it was
just going down the line, past
I
him.
think he was
he's
coming out the
playing it
back. Yeah, he was looping out the back.
And he was looping out, and Roderick Ty has hit him with a good shoulder. You know, it's always a big hit when ball comes to
When the ball flies.
when
like that.
when it dislodges the ball just flies straight up in the air. It's normally a teller. It's going to be a big shot, and Williams manages to dive on it and run down to the other end and score. It's obviously big tackles change matches, but especially when big tackles lead to shifting points momentum as well. So it was a massive moment, I think, in this game, which set the tone for it. But yeah, good shot off Roderick Ty.
He's put a few on, hasn't he, Roderick, this year? He's put a few big shots on.
Trust in Burgess, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's gone with him a good couple of times, hasn't he?
He's given some chances. There was talk he might be leaving, but obviously he's
Signed an extension.
Signed an extension. That's another reward from Burgess. So yeah, fair play. Shot of the week from Roderick Ty.
Yeah.
Player of the week.
Yeah, you liked this last week. Obviously, you listened in.
Yep.
Last week's was Kyle O'Donnell.
Kyle O'Donnell last week because he scored 4 tries. How could it not be? This week I've gone for Josh Rourke from London.
Oh.
Centre / fullback. He's playing centre this game. He scored 2. He set one up with an absolutely outrageous offload.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say anything super special in defence. Only made 9 tackles, but they only let 1 try in, didn't they, in the whole game? So, and it wasn't even on his side. So clearly they've worked well together as a team defensively. Made 99 metres, 2 offloads, 1 that led to a try. Scored 2 himself by jumping higher than the fullback. Josh Rourke is a baller. He scores some tries this year.
He has to be playing Super League next year.
Oh,
I hope it's still at London.
He certainly will be playing Super League next year, regardless of whether or not London are in Super League next year. Josh Rourke will be in Super League. Yeah, because he's a star, isn't he? I think he come through Salford's system. I might be wrong there, but I'm sure he came through Salford's system.
I'm not sure. Actually.
One that got away for them if he did. But yeah, he's playing really well at the minute. And there was that time I said a few weeks ago my Eyecatcher was.
Yeah, he played 1 game for Salford.
Yeah,
in 2022.
Yeah, he got slipped away for them, isn't he? But you can't keep them all. And I said he scored 4 in a row a few weeks ago, and scored 2 in this game. Really impressive, Josh Rourke.
Yeah. Right, that wraps it up. And when we come back, we'll go around the ground. So we're going to jump around the ground, starting off at Ellen Road. If you've not figured out, I'm going to say that before every game. Hull FC versus the London Broncos. 29 points to 4. London win this game. Josh Rourke getting 2 was probably the standout player of this game.
We have just given him player of the round.
Yeah.
So
he's definitely stand-up player.
He's standout player in this game.
But I want to say well done to London, first of all.
Yeah,
London were really great good performance.
They were really great.
They looked like a team fighting. They looked like a team that was engaged and working hard for each other. Hull FC, on the other hand, I thought they'd hit rock bottom. And they proved me wrong that they hadn't hit rock bottom. They got worse. And Thingy Griggs has come out today and said, well, maybe the threat of no relegation has meant his team switched off or isn't competing to the best because they're not scared about getting relegated.
Hull FC, that meme of that guy who's eating those chicken nuggets and he says his expectations were low, but his disappointment is still immeasurable and his day is still ruined.
It was so bad, right? The Rugby League Live, the news reporter actually put a thing out saying Hull FC now hit new low rock bottom or something like that, and highlighted how poor it was.
Oh yeah, this is
ridiculously bad.
This is rock bottom. It must be rock bottom.
Well, I thought it was rock bottom before that, because this just shows how bad. They've had some good results that have picked people up. Obviously, beating us. They've beat a couple of other teams around them and picked up some points, whatever. And
they've got 3 wins: London, Wigan, Leeds. The team at the bottom, the team in mid-table, and the team at the top.
You say you're building a side for next year now. It don't matter. Unless you're getting 17 new players. Getting beat by London like that does not set you up for a good season next year.
No.
They brought Asiata in, Hardacre, Ollie Holmes, someone else as well, Canberra. But they don't fix this problem. You could bring
Oh, they'll make them a hell of a lot better than this.
They'll make them better, but they're not going to fix that. They're not going to turn that into a top 6 team that Hull FC should be.
We've been saying all year, like, if you drop London with this squad into the Championship, they'd be mid-table. What does that put Hull FC?
Yeah.
Hull FC, I don't think would win the Championship this year.
No.
The quality at the top's too high.
I think there's a couple of things in this for me. Obviously, what this could end up with Hull FC being very bad, even if we go into next season. Because at the minute, Zach Ardeka, all those people you've just mentioned, what is enticing them to go to Hull FC? It has to be. So for those who can't. Obviously, you can't.
Sorry, yeah,
you can't see. You've got no visual. But Tom just made the money sign.
Show me the money
It's
sign.
to show me the money. So yeah, it must be cash. But this doesn't work because then you've got a load of people who's
mercenaries
there for the wrong reasons. Mercenaries who's picking up paychecks. If they fail again last season, then what you need to do? You need to sign even more players. Let players go. This is
you end up with players. Isn't Asiata on a 4-year contract?
I think it's 3.
3.
But the problem you're going to get is we criticise the bottom of the NRL for being like this. Players only go there for the money, not for the right reasons, and so they never get out. And the best players from those bottom teams jump ship at the first available opportunity.
Just look at West Tigers. They're going to spend $1 million a season on Jerome Luai.
They'll spend loads on Taruva as well. But that's beside the point. What I'm saying is West Tigers' quality young players, Boomer, Galvin, they want out. Parramatta's best young player, Talangi's left. There's no...
The prop for West Tigers, I forgot his name.
Yeah, Otto Kamano. You know his name, you just don't want to say it. But we criticise the motivation for players going to those clubs, and we see the bright young stars want to leave at the first available opportunity, not even seeing out rookie contracts. If you get rid of relegation, that's the problem you're going to face here. Hull FC know there's no relegation, so they can splash the cash on all these players for next year who are only going for the money. They're not going for the right reasons. So you're going to see all the bright young talent leave to top 6 clubs, and you're going to see them only be able to buy in hired hands because they'll be the highest bidder. Which that's then a downward spiral.
It is.
We've seen that with the bottom clubs in the NRL. That's a downward spiral.
I'm just going to say there's a couple of players that you'd be looking at that might want to go there. What's the young halfback called? I forgot his name.
Charles.
There'll be teams sniffing around him.
Hull FC could do a lot.
Talk to Truman once he leaves.
Hull FC could do a lot worse than getting some of these London players. They'll be there for the right reasons. They'll have the motivation.
I want to stay in Super League. If you offered them a short-term contract to want to stay, but it's really worrying.
Throwing cash at 30-plus players is not the answer.
I didn't necessarily mind it with like Tom Briscoe. Lad who was at Hull for a long time. He knows what the club's about. Maybe set some standards. Not necessarily on a big deal.
Yeah, but you only need one of them, really, or one or two players like that. You don't need loads.
But with Asiata, Holmes, Hardacre, maybe a couple more, I just can't see it fixing soon.
Well, we'll see, because obviously a lot of it's going to be with the new coach, Cartwright.
And his lad's
already here, yeah. He scored this game. Cartwright, vastly experienced player. Coach. Been around the block. We said that when he signed. You know, he's done his apprenticeship, so to speak.
Do you think he'll have made them signings? Do you think he'll have brought in...
It's all a bit Chimala doing it as a director.
I think it's been all Richard. You're telling me that Cartwright said,
I want Zach Ardacre,
Holmes, 30 plus. I want all these 30 plus players from Leigh. I bet he's not. I bet he's leaving it to Myler. But Cartwright might come in and be a really good coach.
He might be, but
he might get the best out of the young players.
But then the first thing they're going to say is that it's not his squad and he's got time to build and bring in players that he wants, and that's going to take 2 years.
Yeah, maybe.
That was the first game. Obviously, we were the second game of Saturday. Third game, Warrington beating Leeds 24 points to 6. Dufty hat-trick. Williams scored as well. Momorowski scoring for Leeds. 8-0 at half-time, and then 24-6. I just didn't think Leeds had it in them in the second half. They looked tired. Well, Warrington to me looked fresh and still... They look like a team that could play for 80.
Leeds just looked like all they had was like if Lasoni started kicking off. That was all they could. They could get up for a bit, and back in.
They seem to be able to play in 5-10 minute spells and put points on. And I know they beat us the other week.
They put a good performance together last week.
But they don't look a team that can put 3, 4, 5 back to back to back and perform.
They're probably not.
And some of the tries that Dufty scored. Dufty's obviously a very good attacking threat.
Yeah, they did make one or two of them easy for him though.
But I thought some of them were soft. I really didn't. I didn't like Brad Arthur's interview after. Have you seen his interview?
Brad Arthur he's a strange interview every week.
But
He sits looking so passive the whole game, doing nothing, and then he comes to an interview and he always says something weird. And I don't know if it's like distraction technique or something. Might be, in which case it's quite effective because it's what you brought up.
Criticising the rest for this game.
But he always says something bizarre and out of pocket.
Yeah. I just don't know. There was a couple of decisions where I thought he might have got wrong or whatever. But this was just...
Well, it was a battering, wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
I think absolutely 24-6. What was it, 24-6?
24-6.
It could have been worse.
It should have been worse.
Yeah.
I think the scoreline didn't reflect the momentum of this game. For them to only win by 3 converted tries.
Leeds never looked like... They didn't even like scoring until... Juan Rascas was quite late on, wasn't it, if I remember right?
Yeah.
Could have easily been nilled.
And that wrapped up Saturday at Ellen Road.
Yeah, a bit disappointing. And what I thought was, Hull FC always travel well, fan base, especially to Magic, now that they don't seem to get into finals anymore.
If you were to rank the top 6 attended teams...
Okay, the top 6 attended teams, in no particular order...
Hull
clubs, Wigan, Warrington, St Helens, Leeds.
And 5 of them are playing today.
And 5 of them were playing on the Saturday. So,
and I don't think it was a sellout, was it?
No, but it was 10,000 more than the day
after,
which just makes perfect sense. I don't get why you would put 5 of your big 6 draws on the same day.
For me, Warrington, Leeds, or us.
Warrington Leeds should have closed out Sunday.
Yeah.
That probably on paper is one of the bigger fixtures.
And Hull KR Catalan.
It's got a lot of star power. With Saints and Wigan not having as much star power as usual, Warrington Leeds probably has the most star power in that game. You could say Hull KR and Catalan as well, but Leeds are obviously got the most fans there. Warrington always travel well. That's the perfect game to headline. But instead you headline the Saturday with it. It just didn't make sense to have 5 of your big 6 draws all on the same day.
Yeah. Should we jump over to that Sunday?
Yeah.
On Sunday there were 3 games as well. The Leopards versus Salford at Ellen Road. 26-0. 12-0 at half time. Ipape, Hanley, Hardacre, Latelli getting tries for Lee. At one point Salford were down to 11 for about 5 minutes, 2 yellow cards.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the Amila Hanley try.
Was this when it was still on 13 against 13, or did it go on to 12 at this point?
I think it was 12. But for me, it didn't matter in this try. Because he's just walked through. Amila Hanley has walked through, and don't get me wrong, he's put some size on since he was at Wigan, and he runs the ball quick. But to take the ball in his own half, or maybe just on the halfway line, and not really have anyone slow him down. Mark Sneed's tackle attempt was poor. You'll be disappointed with that. I just thought, when you concede that as the second try of the game...
They give Sneed a torrid time. They really did.
After they went after O'Brien.
They really did. They really gave Sneed a horrible time.
Who gave Salford a terrible time? Salford.
Yeah,
they must be one of the worst teams for putting themselves on the back foot with a and obviously it's a bit surprised by the fact they went down to 11 at one point in this game, but not even just sin binnings, just really cheap penalties that just invite pressure onto yourself, and 6 again calls and just silly penalties here and there. They must be. I've not seen the stats on it, but from what you see, they must be one of the most ill-disciplined sides in the league.
I never get pinning a team deep with a great kick from Sneed and then stripping the ball.
And then, stripping the ball, it's
just
a penalty.
Brainless.
And suddenly, you've just undone all that. And it's just ill-discipline.
They do so much good stuff.
Life torrid for themselves.
But why is that? Is that because we know the squad's not that strong? Is it because they have to keep picking the same team and there's just fatigue setting there? I don't know.
Probably a combination of what you've just said, I think. Probably a combination of it all.
Well, you do see like silly yardage penalties like that when a team is tired.
Yeah.
When a team can't actually get back. They want to get back on side. They can't. There was a great piece of analysis done by John Wilkin on one of these tries. I think it was the Hardacre try, who said Joe Mellor from marker is working as hard as he can, and it's not enough.
Yeah.
He can't get across in time.
Yeah.
They're just too out on the feet to actually defend properly.
Well, just Salford completed at 78%. They missed 46 tackles.
Yeah.
That's way too many.
The tired side, that, isn't it?
Compared to Lee, who missed 23. So Lee have missed that.
No, I think 23 is probably about
The Super League average.
probably about average.
They both made 12 errors apiece. The 2 yellow cards, obviously, for Lee.
Salford, yeah.
For Salford.
Singleton's was the second one, wasn't it? I think when you've just seen your mate going to the sin bin as well, and I thought the first one was a little bit harsh, but it's the way we're going in this game. When you've just seen your mate sin bin, you've got to be clever.
Yeah.
In the minutes following that, you've really got to be clever.
But again, it's tired, so he's done with some footwork.
Yeah,
he
he got
just
done
throws
with
a loose
footwork
arm out there. It just screams tiredness to me, but they need to sort it going into this bit of the season because they want to compete for a top 6 place and they keep making life hard for themselves. It'll slip away from them.
I think they're in danger of being caught out.
But like you talk about the penalties.
Probably badly.
Yeah.
I think Lee could do it. Just about.
They have got some tough games coming
They've
up.
got some tough games, but if they can win one of them 2 or 3 tough games, I think they could just pip Salford. But you talk about penalties, for example. They only conceded 2 more penalties than Lee. But you're right, it's the timing and the first tackle penalties in your own half.
Like you're trapping a team deep and then giving away a penalty in yardage.
Penalties, 4th tackle. Killers. Real killers. But Lee played very, very well.
Well, you have to think, like, to just go on penalties again. In between the 40s, it's a 6 again, isn't it? So you have to be really smart with what you know. In yardage when you're defending, the other team on an exit set or whatever, they've been pinned deep. You have to be really clever with those tackling those 3 quarters. You can't give them a penalty.
But do you not find
It's just an easy out. You're giving Lee an easy out every time.
this is obviously we sit next to each other, me and Lewis, for home games. How many times do we say to each other, 3rd, 4th tackle, no penalties here? No penalties, 3rd, 4th tackle.
Clean.
Because the coach killers,
And you potentially pin a team to the 20 on the 3rd tackle. Let them have two decent carries, get to 14 kick, because that's still a set that you've won.
Go back 11 yards if you have to.
Yeah. Don't give something stupid away there.
I'd rather you go back 11 yards and give them an extra yard for rather than give a penalty away for being offside and let them kick it 30.
Yeah.
And get a fresh set. That's the
Fresh set. You have to make 12 tackles. 2 sets back to back. They're just killers. They're real killers. But Lee played well.
They did.
You got to credit Lee.
O'Brien at 6. He took a pasting. He got hit quite a few times and they really went after him in the kick at Salford.
Yeah.
But
It's been like that all his career, O'Brien.
he kept showing up.
He's been like, even when he was like early days, he was at Warrington and places, like he got, amount of times he used to play for Salford, didn't he, O'Brien?
Yeah.
Right? Warrington, Salford.
He hit the famous drop goal, didn't he?
He did, yes. And
£1 million game.
he always gets hammered with, kicks
pressure.
the ball and kick pressure, and he never goes whining. Always gets up and just carries on doing his job. He's a tough player.
Yeah, I like
O'Brien,
that.
he is. He's tough.
I like him. Yeah, I like him.
Right. Second game, Ellen Road as well, was Catalans versus Hull KR. Now, Hull KR win this game 36 points to 4. Yeah. Sirinen scored for Catalan, and Minchella, Hall and Tanganoa both got 2 apiece. Evalds and Hiku both getting a try. But it was 12-4 at half time.
Yeah.
If you're Steve McNamara, you've got to be disappointed with that second half.
Well, he said he was pleased with the first half. It was 3 tries to 1.
Because if we're being honest, Hull KR are probably a better side than Catalan.
Oh, they're on fire as well.
And Hull KR in form. And to be 12-4 at half time, you think, listen, we're in it here. We get the next try.
What's not being mentioned is Catalan's injuries are mounting up, just like Wigan and St Helens are getting talked about for their injuries. But actually, they had to play that all French spine again. Morg was out of position.
Morg was at 6. Cesar Rouget.
So they had that all French spine, which they usually have when they get injuries. And Sam Tompkins was there as attacking consultant coach or something because he's injured now. They've had to let Nicarima go.
Yeah.
So actually, Catalan are doing it a bit tough.
Still missing McIlaurin.
But that's no excuse for conceding 8 tries.
8 tries. Just point out this. They missed 6 kicks, Hull KR.
Yeah.
Some of them were not difficult.
There was one or two hard
If he
ones.
kicks half of them, it's 42-4.
That's what it should have been.
And that's...
That's being generous to him because they weren't all... I'd say about half of them were difficult, but not even that. Probably only 1 or 2 difficult ones.
That's what worried.
He was
worried
missing
me.
some, like he hit the post a few times, and I'm thinking, that was a really easy kick.
Yeah, again, I always ask myself the question, would I be annoyed if we'd missed that? And I think I would.
Good job it didn't matter for him in this game.
Yeah. Any other comments on these games before we go on to the last one?
Hull KR. Got to take them seriously, haven't you?
Yeah, I think they're a serious team.
They're a good
Their running's tough.
We've not mentioned the controversy from this game.
No, I was just going to go on to that.
We're just going to
We
go on to
haven't
the
mentioned
controversy. The biting allegation / fingers in the mouth allegation.
Can I suggest something? If you don't want to be bitten, don't put your hand in someone
Cesar
else's
Rouget
mouth.
had Mikey Lewis's fingers in and around his mouth. To quote the great Jonah Hill.
If you don't want to get bitten, don't put your hand in someone's mouth. But why are you putting your hands? Why are you putting your hands anywhere near?
There's a person I know, and he works like with tools, and he has a thing for keeping safe at work where he says you don't put your fingers anywhere you want to put your tallywhacker.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe that's what Mikey Lewis did to be told. Like control.
It's just.
You don't stick that in his mouth, would you? You don't
First
stick
of
your
all, if someone puts their hand in your mouth, you are not meant to bite it, but why are you putting your hand in somebody's mouth?
Especially shoving as well. Like, he's not just put it there like casually.
Brian
He's like
Kearney
shoving
asked
him in the face.
Brian Kearney said to him, "Did you put your hand in his mouth?" And he said, "No, but my hand did go in his mouth." Well, yeah, you
like,
did then.
Like, Cesar Rouge hasn't just opened his mouth and gone looking for it. Like,
No, he clearly didn't.
He hasn't put his mouth on your fingers.
No,
Like,
no.
This is honestly, this is what.
and they've
It
said
sounds
they-
like a head teacher speak to a school.
Yeah, it does, doesn't
Did you put your fingers in his mouth? Like,
No,
like being
sir, I
told-
didn't. But my hand did go in, and yes. Well, I didn't. Just so daft. Like we're going to be talking about him playing really well, or him missing all them
I was going to
kicks.
say, I did love the fact that Tyrone May put on a brilliant try. I think it was for Hall, I want to say.
Yeah,
And then they just praised Mikey Lewis.
yeah. I know. They were like, "Mikey, we're going to get you to analyse this," and he wasn't even involved.
You know what I mean? I mean, during the game when they were commentating,
Oh, yeah.
Tyrone May, Mikey Lewis give it to May. May skipped across the line or whatever, picked out a good pass or whatever. And they were just praising Mikey Lewis.
I think it was Tyrone May's best game
Yeah.
in Super League.
Yeah. I thought he was definitely the standout player from this game.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if it weren't for Rourke getting that second try right at the end, we might have been talking about Tyrone May as our player of the round because he was really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. Right, final game of the round was at Ellen Road. Huddersfield first
Stop it with the Ellen Road thing.
was... I just want to remind everyone that we took Magic Weekend to Ellen Road. It was Huddersfield versus Castleford. Huddersfield winning 20 points to 12.
Yeah, you're closing the show there with two sides with nothing to play
Nothing
for
to
at
play
all, apart from next year.
Do you not think this game should have opened it?
Maybe, but Wilkin was actually pretty fair on. Again, I've praised Wilkin twice in this show. What is happening to me? Anyway, Wilkin was pretty fair on. He was saying, you two teams, right, you've got nothing to fear, you've got nothing to play for, you've got nothing to worry about. Just go and dazzle, just go and entertain, take risks, try things, don't be afraid to fail. But that's like, yeah, brilliant. What an idea. This is his absolute masterstroke, getting these two teams to close out the show. This is going to be quality.
But I also think that's why it would have been good to open up with it. A
Just
game with no
just
pressure.
Absolute fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crowd then builds up after it. You can have some really good plays put on, whatever.
Instead, what we saw was just knock-ons and headshots.
Yeah.
All game.
Yeah. Basically.
The two yellow cards for Huddersfield were the most obvious yellow card. 2-0 here gave himself a yellow card. He said, he said,
He just walked over and went,
yellow card.
you know why.
You know it's yellow, don't you? Yeah.
Which, it's
And
fair
the other
enough.
lad, Rogers, clothesline someone in the head.
I have to say
Sylvester Nemo and John Wells. What did you say?
John Wells said on commentary, I do feel for Fenton Rogers here because it's like tackling a medium-sized car.
Family car.
A medium-sized family car. That makes all the difference, that. Medium-sized family car. To which I said, look, it doesn't mean you can just hit him in the head.
Hit the driver in the head, that's how you start a medium-sized family car.
Like, yeah, it's hard to tackle Patrick Mago or Luke Thompson or Alex Walmsley or Parsi. You can't just say...
I find it tough to tackle anybody.
But you can't then just go, well, I can just hit him round head.
If it's a tough... Yeah, because then what John Wells is saying here is he wants a metric.
A player rating of difficulty to tackle.
Decide who's the hardest to tackle and you can hit them higher. So your fullback's going through, you have to go waist or lower. But if it's a prop forward...
Shoulder above his fair game.
Fair game.
But that's what I mean. I was like, you can't just justify it.
You can't justify it by saying he's tough to tackle.
And I know it's a drop-off ball on the inside. He has plenty of time.
This was probably the worst tackle of the weekend.
Yeah.
Because he had time to line him up and still just clotheslined him in the head.
And Namo gets up. Namo,
JBL would be proud of.
JBL would have been proud of this one.
but I was just like, am I listening to the same thing here? Like, have I missed something? I was genuinely confused watching this.
I can't believe he's got Sim insufficient.
Yeah, because this one-on-one. I don't think they could have argued if it were a red.
I thought it should have been red.
I know it hits his arm rather than a shoulder, but it's direct to the head. No mitigation, one-on-one.
JBL clothesline.
Well, yeah, that's what it was. But he's hard to tackle, so it's fine.
Whatever.
Right, and that closed out Magic Weekend. Any other thoughts on the Magic round?
I'm pleased for Ham Solsol, nearly called him. Sam Halsall,
Yeah.
on his birthday, Wigan lad. He's found his place in that team.
Masters was good for Huddersfield.
Yeah. They bigged him up, didn't they, because he was coming back from injury, and he didn't disappoint. He played really well.
Is he leaving at the end of the year?
He's going to Salford.
Going to Salford, yeah.
I think that's a good signing for Salford.
Is he replacing Tim Laffey?
Yeah, but he's about 5 or 6 years younger, and I dare say he's quite a bit cheaper as well.
I think it's a very good signing.
I like him. I like Masters. I think he's a good player.
Yeah. Right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got some news to discuss.
News.
Okay, boys, so it's time for the news. A couple of news articles this week. It's been quite a busy. It was a bit quiet last week, wasn't it? It was just me and you, Dukes. There's been quite a bit going on in the rugby league world this week. First of all, Magic Weekend. Let's start off with your opinions before we start doing it. Should it stay?
Stay as a concept?
Yeah. You just need to be revamped and reworked to make it a bit more successful, do you think?
I'm less keen on it every year, but I do still think it should stay. It's unique, and it's a good concept. And I think it's a good weekend, isn't it?
Talks are confirmed that it's Nottingham.
Still in talks. They've not announced as where it is.
Yeah, I think it is Nottingham though.
I think it's kind of, I don't know if it's actually official, but it seems to be the kind of unofficial, if that makes sense.
City Ground, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Although
I wouldn't be against that.
Notts County is only across the road.
Yeah. It's a new place and still see how it goes there. People travel down well. Next on the agenda, Wellens. 1 year extension.
Yes.
We were questioning it.
It was last week after we filmed, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So it's Unfortunately, it wasn't announced in time for us to cover it last week, was it? A couple of things I think with this one. Shows they've got a bit of faith in it, I would say. They have stuck with him, but only give him 1 year.
I don't like that.
Do you know what I mean? It kind of says almost, we trust you, but we're only going to give you a year because if it goes bad, then we can get someone else in. It doesn't seem like...
I'm just guessing here, but I think he's had this signed for a while. And I think it's a year with a further option for another year in the team's favour. I'm only guessing.
Yeah.
Because it just seems odd to just give him 12 months.
I'm going to suppose. But for me, if you're going to say that this is the guy we're backing, you give him 2.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Do you not just give him 12 months with an option for a further 12?
No.
Is there not an argument?
Because then
that trust has to be earned.
But that's saying to me that if you got a year now, and we've got a year in our favour, that's saying, well, yeah, we trust you enough to get us through this, but if it's not good enough, we'll just cut you and bring someone else in.
Didn't make the grand final last year. Didn't make the Challenge Cup final either year.
Or it says to me, we've not got someone that we want yet.
I don't think they've got someone who they want.
So, to
But
me,
if the talks are true about Lee Breers coming as an assistant to Wellens, well, it's the Ruud van Nistelrooy, Eric Ten Hag thing. As soon as the first two defeats go, it will get Breers. Breers is there. Promote Breers. Everyone's ready for Breers to be head coach in Britain.
Yeah.
Apart from, I think, Lee Breers himself. But that's going to be the talk, isn't it? If you've got a number two who is capable.
it's like Danny Maguire, Sue.
Danny Maguire, yeah. Good point. Everyone was always, well, if it goes wrong, they'll be calling for Danny Maguire to take over. I think it'll be the same for Breers.
Yeah.
It just screams to me of, we haven't got someone else. So, we'll see how this next year goes. We'll put a bit of investment in. Bring some new young kids in. We'll see how we're going. And if there's someone better in a year's time...
Sailor's a good signing. So I don't know where he's going to play.
I think he'll have to play full-back.
I think there's
Some Wellsby has to play house.
I think there's a couple of things here. I don't think Wellens is the problem. I know we had Alex on a couple of weeks ago who was saying, Fanny was talking about the attack. Maybe Breers can come in and solve that and give him some new ideas in attack.
The attack wasn't great under Wolf.
It wasn't.
They turned into a winning machine.
The thing, I think, we go back to what we said before when we discussed the Wigan and Saints game. I think the problem is they've got no depth in the squad. I think that's the problem. I think you can go back, you can change the coach all you want, but if we get injuries and you have to bring in kids or people who are inexperienced and you've got no depth, then injuries will derail your season. I think that's the ultimate problem.
For me, if you're complaining that you're number 21 and you're number 22 have to play, then you've got problems.
Yeah. We've had this conversation before, I think.
Yeah. I'm not going into it again, but...
No. Ongoing talk, it's been around for a couple of weeks, this. NRL and Super League. Possibly a kind of ownership. NRL looking to buy
Super League. Well, Steve Mascott, the reporter, has said today that he's heard a few things, but it's only like initial talks, as in getting to know each other. There's not been like a bid. There's not been whatever. So you can almost put a pin in it for happening in the next week. It's not going to be a thing that happens overnight. It's not been in the pipework for ages, and now they're leaking it.
I think it could be good if it comes off,
It depends what their intention is with it.
Yeah.
If the intention is for it to become a feeder league, then no. If the intention is we want a strong Northern Hemisphere league and we want a strong
England side,
and we then want an American league and we want a European league, and that's the 20-30 year plan, I think this could be the first step of it. It's all about what their intention is.
I don't see why you wouldn't create a European league. I don't see why you wouldn't create an American league, Canadian league. If you're the NRL, you've got the money, you've got the fan base, you've got the foothold now with Las Vegas. I don't see why you wouldn't. And they want 20 teams, don't they, the NRL? That's 30 blokes times 3, that's another 90 players that have to come from somewhere. I bet it's not Australia, unless Rugby Union goes pop. It's going to be...
Well, there's a lot of players going in.
They've already got the Pacific Islands.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Pacific Islands
team in that 20
league or team in that 20. More players coming from Britain. Yeah, I think we'll see more players going from Britain to fill out these 90 spots.
Yeah, so
yeah, see how that one kind of pans out as time goes on. Opacek. Polka been a good centre for them, but is set to leave. There has been a bit of, I suppose, depth in that position now with Ollie Gildart coming in, Broadbent coming in, Hiku coming in. I think they signed as a full back, but they've kind of now said he's at centre, and Evans is...
He's a centre. The first thing with that is he is a centre.
Yeah, I think he was signed to play a full back, but I think they realised soon his best position is centre. I think he's a centre, I agree with you, but I think they did bring him to try and play a full back.
Yeah.
There's some Eels fans saying they need him back. They say that a lot of the problems that defensively were when Opacek left. He was a great defensive player.
Yeah.
He was a good backup centre.
It's been good for them, but they seem to be recruited heavily in the centres, haven't they?
Yeah.
When you go through the list of people who do play centre for them, we've talked about that backline.
Reece Martin probably went there. He could play centre, couldn't he, if he needed to?
Yeah, if he needed to.
I wonder where he'll end up.
Yeah.
There's plenty of clubs over here that take him.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
He'd improve most clubs over here.
Saints would have him.
Catalan, Ichabod.
I think there's only really us, Warrington.
We're pretty sorted for centre. Warrington are definitely sorted for centre.
Yeah.
And Hull care that wouldn't take him. He'd get in at Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one to watch then for Lee.
Yeah. See what happens. We'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll have to see.
Wouldn't have to move house.
No. Although he doesn't play for Lee, so we'll have to see probably might not want
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Seems to be signing Lee plays at the minute. Bit of news in the Championship. Kyle Amor. I really like Kyle Amor on commentary and his punditry job, but he's having a dig at coach. He's been announced as the Whitehaven coach. Whitehaven, I believe, having some problems with the club, financial troubles. Their coach.
They've been asking for funds, haven't they?
They have been asking for funds. They're struggling. I believe there's been payment issues with staff.
We said that. What was it he said after the whip?
Well, the coach, they won this week, and they're scrapping for relegation. They're level on points with the teams they're scrapping with, so they're in it. But he said after they had a big win this week, and he said it's just untenable. He can't carry on the situation. He can't keep doing a job he's not getting paid to do.
Yeah.
So you can't really blame him, can you?
No. It's a shame, isn't it? With that, I mean, Amor's gone. He's from Cumbria, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
he's
from up
Cumbrian lad,
It's his whole old club, isn't it?
I don't
know.
know where he came through, but he's
He
definitely...
is Cumbrian.
He
though,
played,
He's just from
played
up
for
there, isn't
Cumbria
he?
just before he retired.
So it's. I mean, but you know what? When I hear him talk, he talks really well on commentary and punditry. But I thought he was going to go down the commentary route and keep with that. Maybe.
Still.
He might still, yeah.
For the last 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So in 2009, he played 24 games for Whitehaven.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
so we've got a connection, hasn't he?
Yeah, and then went on loan there when he went to Leeds.
That's okay. So, yeah, see how that one pans out, but best of luck to him.
He probably feels like he owes them something.
Maybe.
Just do 6 weeks.
Yeah, maybe. The old-timer, Leroy Cudjoe. This week, this isn't the news, by the way, the news is coming after this stat, but I thought this is amazing. Leroy Cudjoe named in the team of the week this week at prop forward.
Started his career as a winger.
Made his name as a centre.
Yeah, his name is a centre. He's played loose forward.
Played centre for England a
Plays
lot
for
of
England.
times.
He's played loose forward, and now he's
He
played
went into second row.
and now he's played prop.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm
the
guessing,
news...
I'm guessing he might have done a bit at full back as well at times.
He probably has.
The news story is that he's been announced in the team of the week for prop. It's that he's signed a new deal.
Yes.
So he's going again. He's going around again.
You know what I loved? To hype up the Magic game, Huddersfield put a tweet out that after the Catalans will care, listened to Luke Robinson's pre-match press conference with Sky, and then put the signing pen emoji.
Yeah. But Brian Carney spoiled it.
Yeah.
Because he said, Huddersfield Giants fans, you're going to want to listen to this bit because one of your players, a club legend, is signed on for another 12 months. And I was thinking, it can only be Cudjoe.
Yeah.
Unless Earl Crabtree's coming.
Who else is it going to be? There's only one really club legend who's playing at the minute for them. So it's got to be Cudjoe.
So we'll see how that goes when he wants to do another Euro play next year.
Yeah, I don't know.
What position?
I don't know.
He might confirm anyway, can't he? At the minute.
In the house.
If you've got someone like Leroy Cudjoe, you've basically got a player coach, haven't you?
Yeah.
With all his wealth of experience, even if he only plays 15 games, he'd be very valuable for Huddersfield.
Yeah, definitely. And final little piece of news, there's been quite a lot of inductions into the NRL Hall of Fame.
Oh, loads.
They've been done like another batch, if you like, who's been inducted in and got all this together. Two we're going to mention. One, former Wigan player, Steve Renner,
Yes.
Yeah.
has been inducted in.
What a player.
Yeah, and nice to see that, it's a person who's played for Wigan and in Super League, but he's still in the NRL. Do you know what I mean? A lot of sometimes when they come over to Super League, they can be kind of, I don't know, maybe if looked down on's the wrong word, but not really given as much kind of accolade and not much notice when they come to Super League. But nice that obviously that has happened.
Yeah, and Steve was...
And rightly so, because he's a cracking player.
He's really well thought of. You can
Yeah.
think of somebody like Matty Bowen, who we all love, but he needed 2 years, really.
Yeah.
But Steve Renouf, I don't know how long you did, but people still talk about him, don't they?
Yeah.
He got a very lasting impact on.
And he was arguably came at like a very good point in his career. It wasn't necessarily right at the end.
Yeah.
He was still playing some very good.
Famous try, isn't there, at when the JJB still looked good with those dark blue seats, where he linked up with Radlinski on the left wing against Bradford. That we're a bit too young for Steve Renouf, but we see all the highlights of him, and he's still spoken of very fondly. So
43 tries in 59 games at Wigan.
fair enough
For a centre.
Fair enough. That's a very good record.
Very good record.
He probably did play as much as Bowen then, but yeah, very good record.
2 seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Australian, Queensland international.
Yeah, yeah. So the other one,
Burgess,
yeah,
slamming Sam. Obviously, we know how highly thought of he is in the pretty much play. I know he did have a couple of seasons at Bradford, but pretty much played all of his career in the NRL. Then obviously a bit of a dabble in Union as well, but obviously thought very highly in the NRL throughout England and England Rugby League. So yeah, I suppose there's no surprise really, is there, with Sam Burgess going?
He was really good against Australia.
He was. He didn't really go missing, did he? Sorry, last one. I just realised how many on this list. I'm not the last one now. Bit of a weird one. I've not done much reading into this. I don't think there's a lot of detail come out about it. There is a partnership, I don't know in what form, between Cass and Manly.
Do you want me to read you out?
Castleford Tigers and the Manly Seagulls. Now, this is no disrespect at all to Castleford Tigers, but what? How do they benefit
can I just
a club
read you?
like
Can I just read you
Manly?
the press release?
Read out the other teams they've got this partnership with.
So the press release reads from Manly. Manly Warringah Sea Eagles have further expanded their footprint to attract the best young talent available from overseas with another exciting new partnership.
Right.
So that bit screams to me that they're looking at young players in England. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I think a lot of players will, as you mentioned. Following on from Manly's already established partnerships with St Bernard's College, Yeppoon.
That's where Harry Grant comes from.
Yeah.
So they've already got this partnership with a college.
Yeah, and
in Yeppoon.
The Mangere East Hawks, in Auckland. The Sea Eagles have now joined forces with the Castleford Tigers in England. They then talk about some Cass players that have played at the Sea Eagles. But it says the partnership with Castleford will see the Sea Eagles work with the Tigers Academy programme in helping to develop their players with an opportunity to bring some young talent to Manly for potential playing opportunities. Both clubs will also work in sharing ideas around coaching and training, with plans underway to bring Castleford Academy players to the Northern Beaches for games against the Manly Pathway teams. So that sounds like they want to get young Castleford Academy players. That doesn't sound like there's much coming to Castleford.
Castleford are getting some coaching tips and some quality opposition for their academy team.
And then Manly
screams to me that they're going to go over there and say, right, run your club this way, train this way, because it's what we want. And any good players who you get in are coming playing for
I like the idea of it. But
no, not for me.
But it feels one way.
Certainly one way, especially when you consider the other two clubs as an amateur club and a college.
If Manly were going to say, listen, we've got X player.
This is a professional team.
No, but what I mean is, we've got this X player, right, and you're looking for a 9. We've got him. He's not ready for NRL yet, but he's too good for New South Wales Cup. We're going to give him Castleford for 2 years.
That's such a small window.
But you get that. There has to be something back. This is just Manly saying they're going to take Cassie's young academy players. Listen to the statement that Manly CEO said, Tony Mestrov. We want to focus on bringing through more of our very talented local juniors, but at the same time, we want to complement that with the best international talent that is available. The Cass Tigers have a great academy programme and a huge nursery in Yorkshire region that we would like to tap into.
Yeah.
That just says it all.
They're tapping into it, yeah.
They're just going to take the best players.
But that college and that amateur club in Auckland, they're not professional.
No.
The Cass are look after your own, actually have your own system.
Yeah.
If they'd announced this with, what's that amateur club called in Castleford that always does really well? I can't remember anyway.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, if they'd announced it with that team, I can kind of get it. But to announce it with a professional team that are probably going to be in the top division, it seems a bit It would be like Man United signing one of these deals, but with a team in the Premier League or a team in Barcelona, like Barcelona. It just seems weird.
It's really weird.
Like, it should be a few leagues down.
It's really weird. Obviously, I've seen a few Cas fans comment on it, and they've said like it's very positive about this, but obviously going to be paramount that Manly uphold their end of the deal. But in the statement, there is nothing about what Manly are going to do for Castleford.
There's
And Castleford haven't even released a statement, just pointed out. They just retweeted Manly's. Or reposted, should I say, because it's now X, not Twitter. Like, they're not actually going to do anything.
You're right, Lewis. This is a weird piece of news. I don't really know what to make of it.
Yeah.
Maybe we're reading too much into it. It's going to be like one guy going over a year. Each way.
Well, you hope so. You don't want just Manly cream skimming the best and cherry picking the best out of Cass and leaving Cass out to dry.
If it's like that, I can see it. But what's stopping them from getting just the very best?
Well, to be fair, if it was literally...
You'd just take too many, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well,
And discard the ones you don't need.
but if this was a deal of like, we've got some good players, you've got some good players, you send them over here for a year's experience playing in England, different conditions, away from home, dealing with all that stuff. As a learning curve at 17, 18, and we're going to send 2 to you. Well, maybe I could get it,
But are Manly's youngsters that can't break through, are they going to play in Super League? They're going to take up a quarter spot?
well, not necessarily. But I mean, like if it was younger, like 16, 17,
Oh, much younger.
and go over to England, get some experience, being away from home, being a professional, blah blah blah, I could possibly get it. But this is just, we're going to pick your best players.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that.
No. It's a weird one, but that wraps up the news.
Yeah, plenty of news.
So yeah, it's been a busy one this week in the world of rugby league. We'll see what next week brings.
Right, we'll come back. We've got some NRL to talk about. So a little bit about the NRL, and this game this week kicks off with possibly the game of the round on Thursday.
Yep.
Melbourne
Game of the season.
Game of the season. Melbourne travelled to Penrith. Melbourne winning 24 points to 22.
Yep.
Loads of different things from this. Big Nelson got a yellow card.
I'll talk about that in a bit.
Nathan Cleary going off injured was it 10 minutes into the second half? 15 minutes into the second half?
Yeah.
Was a massive, massive loss for them.
Right.
It was with 10 minutes left when it was 22 apiece.
So I actually managed to watch this game while I was on holiday.
Yeah.
And with some friends who got Sky, though, big Melbourne fans, knew who they are. And I had a great time. Because when you go and you watch this game, I was a neutral. You know, I just wanted a good game, top two.
Picking a side.
But when you're with 4 or 5 like proper Melbourne supporters, you just get sucked into that and you start wanting Melbourne to win. So I did. And I thought it was an excellent game. A really, really quality game. These two sides, obviously the benchmark. Munster was on fire because Jerome Hughes was getting bottled up.
Yeah.
And
is it the second game that he's been back?
And Munster was showing his quality because they couldn't, defend them all. And Munster was showing his quality in this game. I thought the same could be said for Penrith. That Edwards was great because they were bottling up Luai
And
Cleary. Big Nelson. His sin bin. Did you see this?
I didn't know.
Big Nelson was sin binned for a high shot where he took out the Penrith player, but also inadvertently just plastered Cam Munster's nose all over his face.
Oh, wow.
So he did a high shot
That took out his own man.
took out his own man.
Fist come round and caught.
Yeah, so he caught the Penrith guy with the crook of his elbow, and as his arm came round, he caught Munster with the fist. Munster was tackling the guy from behind, so they both went off for head tests.
Tyrone Wishart's try. He went into 6 for this.
Wishart came on to replace Munster and was fantastic.
Yeah. He threw one of the Bevan French dummies
Yes, yeah.
that might have just got outside the stadium at Penrith if he'd have actually let go of it. But he just threw everyone.
Great game this, and it came down to Penrith got a penalty, kicked it to the 40, and went for a 2-point drop goal. Cleary wasn't on the field, and Cleary drills those for fun. You could kick him from the car park.
Dylan Edwards just shot. He was straight in.
And Dylan Edwards had a go at it, and to be fair to him, you said you're right. He nearly made it, but with Cleary on the field, you think
You're backing him.
he's getting And it sounds daft, because he's kicking a drop goal from 40 metres out, which is just...
But it's his bread and butter.
It's an obscene feat that it shouldn't be possible with human strength, but Cleary's just incredible at it. So, yeah, you think, actually, he probably would score that.
Yeah.
But no, it came up short and Melbourne got the win, which probably sews up minor premiership for them.
And Melbourne want to do it.
Yeah, they're 4 points clear now.
They'll get the minor
Are
premiership.
they going to... What I mean is, if anyone is going to put an end to this...
Oh, the big one.
Penrith.
Depends
on the
on
big
how big this Nathan Cleary injury
Is Melbourne the team to do it?
If
Because
Nathan's...
Brisbane's fell off.
Yeah.
It was Brisbane, wasn't it?
You've got the three teams Penrith have beaten in the finals. Souths, Brisbane, Eels. None of them will make the playoffs this year. It's
But
bad, isn't it?
Melbourne could beat them.
Melbourne were the
Roosters-
last
the
team to beat.
Roosters
Melbourne
could
beat
beat
them in the final 4 years ago, didn't they? 2020, and Munster was incredible.
I think the Roosters could. I think they're a good enough team
But look,
to...
if Nathan misses the rest of the season, either of those two teams could.
Yeah.
I think it's a 3-horse race, even split between them three.
Yeah.
I'd obviously agree.
If Nathan is back in time for the playoffs, makes Penrith favourites again.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a cracking final. Whatever two teams get there, if it's two of them three teams, it's going to be a cracking final.
Yeah.
Right, let's jump on. Manly beat the Warriors. That probably solidates Manly in the top 8.
Yeah, Manly are good side when everyone's fit, aren't they?
When Turbo, DCE, Luke Brooks and all them are playing, they're probably up there with anyone. They could win any odd game. If they got to a final, you wouldn't.
Fair play. They're a good side, aren't they?
And rules out the Warriors. The Roosters beat Parramatta. Dom Young, hat-trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to see.
I like Dom Young a lot, and it's good to see you get a hat-trick this game.
Yeah. The Bulldogs beating the Dolphins quite easy, 30 points to 10.
Bulldogs' most improved side.
Yeah.
Must be.
I tell you what, they're pushing for the
Catch
4.
the Sharks.
The 2 points behind the Sharks.
Bulldogs have been most improved side by a mile. They've been incredible, haven't they, under Seraldo?
In Gus we trust.
Well, yeah.
In the wrestle sessions. We
In the
trust.
They finished the rest of the session, presumably, and started practicing.
Or it's just made them tougher. North Queensland played the Canberra Raiders. Big win there, 42 points to 4.
Yeah.
My highlight of this, got to be Val Holmes, who just announced he's going to St George, scoring his try, hugging all his teammates, walking away and turning back to the crowd and just pumping the badge.
Well, Hardaker did that, and I thought, oh, you're leaving Hardaker. But then I read it was because he's a Leeds United fan.
Yeah. The West, they won.
They did. They weren't playing the bye either.
They were playing the bye. Beat the Rabbitohs 18 points to 16, obviously.
Dude, the Rabbits have fallen off.
I'm going to say this, obviously, I think we missed it in the news, but Latrell stood down.
Yeah, well, no, you
for the
spoke
rest
about
of
it
the
last
season.
week. Yeah, you spoke about
I don't think he'd been stood down at that
You spoke
point.
about
I
unidentified white powder last week. I remember
Yeah.
listening to that bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
While I was editing it.
But now he's been stood down for the rest of 2024.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can see why. It doesn't matter anyway because the Rabbits aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
Someone was saying he's going to go to the Perth team because it'll just calm him down a bit and it'll be a quiet life.
He'll be alright next year with Wayne Bennett.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Wayne might get the best out of him.
Well, he got the best out of him when he was... St George won. They're a massively improved team.
Yeah.
You know what, we'd be talking more about it if it wasn't for the Bulldogs.
If the Bulldogs weren't absolutely flying, we probably would be saying the Dragons have been most improved.
Yeah. And then Cronulla won in extra time against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Kai Pearce-Paul getting his first try for the club.
Yeah,
Yes.
good for Kai Pearce-Paul.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Loads of controversy around the drop goal attempts in this game. Players not being onside, then players not being blocking and not being able to block.
They made a rod for their own back like this time last year when they checked a drop goal that missed and then gave a penalty under the sticks for the blockers being offside. And you think,
but
you're just going to review every drop goal now from now
have you seen the CEO, the NRL, I forget his name, not Volandi's the other one.
The one for the refs?
Yeah.
Graham Annesley.
That's it.
Yeah, if you ever watch any old games like Vossi's Awesome 80s, Graham Annesley's always one of the refs.
But he came out and said, yeah, well, we were checking blockers and that was the correct decision. But he did get one wrong because they were offside from a kick-off. And when they replayed it, there was like 4 players in front of the kicker at a kick-off and they just missed it.
I don't think you can re-referee the games for things like this.
But that's like
If you score a try and the guy who scored is offside, or the guy who pats it back to the guy who scored is offside, fair enough, you can chalk that one off. But I really don't like re-refereeing the game and going in and saying, well, that person's toenail's offside, so you should give them 3 2-point. And, they missed the drop goal, whatever, just play on.
Yeah. Right, that's the NRL wrapped up. We're going to come back in a split second to do some quick fire predictions. So, we're going to do some quick fire predictions. St Helens at Hull KR. Tough one. Saints at home. I've started on a Saturday. I don't know why I've started on a Saturday. But
Saturday
I'm
sizzler.
just going to roll with it at this point. We'll do Saturdays first. Injury-stricken St Helens. Hull KR, high flying, but they've had some tough games recently. Matty, who you win?
This is a weird one, actually. I can't want St Helens to win, can I?
A draw, a 0-0 draw, and then just miss a lot of goals. Extra.
Okay. I'll probably go in the back Hull KR for this one, I think.
Lewis?
Yeah, I've seen was at full strength being at home, I'd back them, but I think they've still got too many missing to.
They get Lomax back, but I don't know about any
I
others.
don't think that's enough.
I don't think it's enough. For Hull KR playing at the minute, and the fact that they've got a very strong team out, I think they're still missing too
They
many.
were cutting through Catalan very easily, weren't they?
I don't think Saints will be as easy to cut through.
No, they won't be as easy to go through, and they won't give up either, like Catalan always do when they go 4 scores behind.
I'm going to be boring and go with you guys, Hull KR.
Yeah, I think it's a sensible choice.
Leeds versus... also on Saturday. We'll do Saturday first, seeing as I started the Salford Huddersfield. I'm going to go out there. I think Salford will win.
You're out on a limb there, back in...
I just don't think... Salford aren't great. They've not been great for a while, but I don't think Huddersfield have got enough to play for.
I think Salford will do it as well. That's, I think, the best of 2 poor teams here.
Yeah. I'm debating it. No, I'm going Salford. Do you know what? I was going to go...
Huddersfield win.
Do you know
Huddersfield win now?
Do you know something? It was you who convinced me then, because you're right. I was going to go Huddersfield, but then you're right. They've got Salford is still trying to fight for a top 6 spot, and Huddersfield's got nothing to play for. It means more to Salford.
It's so strange. Salford are having good games and bad games. They were great against. Well, they weren't great, but they were pretty good against St Helens, where they lost in Golden Point.
Yeah,
but I remember them being awful at Catalan. Didn't they get beat by Huddersfield last time? I think they got beat by Huddersfield last time they played. They were awful against Lee on Sunday. But yeah, I think Salford will pull one out this game.
Right. Friday. Castleford versus Warrington. Got to go Warrington.
Warrington, yes, to score some points here.
Yeah, Warrington.
I just hope Cas put up a decent fight.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure Cas will put up a fight. This new Cas team under Lingard fights in games, don't they?
Yeah.
But I think they'll lose.
Leeds, Catalan. I'm going to go Leeds at home. I think Catalan at home would be a better... I'm just going to have to go with the home side here. Whoever was at home, I would back here.
I'm going to back Catalan. I know they had 3 or 4 injuries in that game to add to the ones they've already got. But I'm not impressed with Leeds at all against Warrington. I know Catalan were really poor, but I think Catalan got a better coach.
Yeah, I'm going to go Catalan. I think they both are coming off a loss. They'll both want to bounce back. But I think, like you said, Matty, I think Catalan will be more fired up given the fact of the manner of their defeat.
It was awful, wasn't it?
It was, and I think they've got more to prove than Leeds have.
Yeah. Over to Sunday, London versus Lee. I'm going to go Lee.
Yeah, I think you have to back against London every time, even though they had the great win this week. I'd love them to pull off one more win and get above Hull.
I would.
I think Hull deserve the wooden spoon.
They do.
Yeah. And London don't really deserve the wooden spoon. But London have to get another win for that. Or some...
They've still got to play each other again.
Points difference. No, they're not playing each other again. They play each other 3 times. They can't have a 4th league match.
I thought they'd only had 2, sorry.
No, because Hull beat them right at the start of the season with that last-minute try from Morgan Smith. And 2 of London's 3 wins have come against Hull.
Yeah. We've got to play Huddersfield.
We're in the Leopards.
Yeah.
Too strong.
Right, where do we see Wigan winning this game against Hull FC? I'm just going to say, I think, obviously, the loss last time will really have hurt Matty Pete. And I think this is a game that he's going to try batter him and really put some dominance into it.
What do you think about, lining up? How do you think we'll line up?
I think there's potential that maybe one or two get a rest if anyone needs it. I think the halfbacks stay the same. I think Miskey stays there. I think that
I think Field is still playing again.
yeah, so I think that means Miskey, Eckersley, the back seven. Maybe Douglas plays for one of them. If one of them needs a rest, I don't know.
I think we'll just be too good for them all over the park. If I'm honest with you, I think they're gone. When they played us last time, there was still a bit of fight in them. Whereas now, I think there's just no fight in them anymore. They just they had that lad today. What's his name? Is his name Jordan Lane? Is he still playing for them? They're saying, he's so embarrassed that they're down there at the bottom of the table. Hull FC shouldn't be down there. Like, lad, you are though.
Yeah,
you've won 3 games all year.
Yeah. To answer both your questions, I think the squad will stay the same. Maybe they may go comes in for Everton.
I will say, I think Walters will play 80 again.
Depends on what Farrell. I think,
but even if Farrell is fit, I wouldn't be surprised if December gets a rest. I would expect Walters to play 80 minutes in either one of them roles.
Yeah,
I think Forber definitely plays.
Oh yeah.
He might rest one of the forwards. Obviously, Ellis is not playing.
I think he might have a similar bench to what he was planning on having. Yeah, I think so.
To answer your question, where is it one? I think we roll them.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've got enough in the middle. I think we roll them. I think even if they give up, we'll see ourselves just doing 5 drives in a kit. We'll be making too many yards on them.
I agree.
They'll go for points, I think.
Yeah,
I'd like to, and not necessarily. We don't necessarily need it.
No.
I wouldn't mind a game like Lee. We go 4-5 scores up at half time and
just cruise,
take foot off gas and just score one more. I wouldn't mind that. In fact, I'd quite like it. It'd be good for the cardiac health of us as well. We don't want another close game.
Right, that wraps it up. Thank you for listening. I know it's been a bit of a longer episode, but it's been enjoyable. Thank you for coming on, lads.
no problem at all. It's a pleasure.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.